Welcome, everyone! In today's video, we're going to explore a very interesting topic. Apps script. This can be especially useful for fans of JavaScript and those who aren't afraid of or bored by the sight of code. Using apps script, you can automate routine tasks, create custom forms, send and receive data from external services, and even build interactive interfaces that simply don't exist in standard Google Sheets tools. Apps Script is a cloud-based platform that runs on JavaScript right inside your Google Drive. It's specifically designed to help you automate and integrate tasks across Google products like Google Sheets, Docs, Gmail, and many more. To put it simply, with Apps Script, you can write small scripts, programs, that will automatically perform repetitive or complex tasks right inside your Google services, saving you time and making data handling easier. Apps Script allows you to write short instructions, or scripts, that will do the work for you. For example, if you're tired of copying data manually or sending repetitive emails, you can write a short script, and it will do everything automatically, saving your time and nerves. To open Apps Script from Google Sheets, go to the Extensions menu and select Apps Script. On your first visit, you'll be taken directly to the Editor tab. We'll return to it shortly. But first, notice the menu on the left. Here you can navigate to Overview, Editor, Project History, Triggers, Executions, and Project Settings. In this video, we won't dive too deep into each one, but we'll briefly cover them to help you navigate the interface more easily. The first tab is Overview. At the top, under Project Details, you'll find the main information about your project. Icon and container type, to which your script is attached. Apps Script never works in isolation. It's always connected to a specific document, a Google Sheets spreadsheet, a Google Docs document, or a Google Slides presentation. This primary document is called a container because it contains your script. Owner's name and your role, usually owner. Script creation date and last modified date. In deployments, you'll see all the published versions, deployments, of your project. Through this tab, you can create new deployments via the Deploy button or manage existing ones. Once you've deployed your script, it becomes fully functional. When you deploy, you're essentially telling the spreadsheet, "Here, this script is now ready to go." You can connect it to a button or menu, and anyone, even someone who doesn't know programming, can run it with just one click. There's also a 7-day summary, which displays recent statistics, error rate, percentage of script runs that ended in errors, executions, total number of times your script has been run, users, number of users using your script, health. This section visually shows the stability of your script in recent days. Green line, users, number of script users. Red line, error rate, percentage of execution errors. Project OAuth scopes shows the permissions requested by your project. For example, access to your spreadsheets, Gmail, and other Google products. If the project is new, it usually says, "No scopes are requested for this deployment." Google takes security seriously and never grants script access to user data without permission. So before the script runs, the user will be asked to approve access to the necessary services. For example, read and modify spreadsheets, send emails. It's like hiring a cleaner. You give them permission to clean your rooms. They can't go anywhere without your consent. But once you allow it, everything gets cleaned the way you want, with your permission. If you noticed, there are 2 tabs here. Head, the current version of the script. All, the history of all your versions and deployments. Editor is the central place where you write JavaScript code for automation in Google products, for example, Sheets, Forms, Gmail. Here's what you'll see on this tab. On the left, you can add files. Code.js, the main script file, This is where you write your functions. Think of functions as instructions for what needs to be done. Libraries, external libraries, if you need, for example, integrations. Services, built-in Google services like Gmail, Sheets, Calendar. You can connect them here to use in your code. Right now, we have an empty function named myFunction. I won't go deep into how functions are written or what syntax is, because learning the language is a broad topic. When you press Run, everything inside the function is executed. Right now, it's empty, so the Run button is inactive. You'll also see Undo and Redo. Run, to execute the selected function. Debug, for step-by-step code analysis. Function drop-down, to switch between different functions. For now, there's only myFunction. Execution log. Below, if enabled, where you can see what the script did, errors, etc. The editor is used as follows. You write JavaScript code here for automation. After running the function, you'll see the result directly in Google Sheets or another service. On the Project History tab, you'll find the history of the project. Triggers allows you to set up automatic function execution based on time, on spreadsheet open, on data changes. Executions shows a list of all script runs. When, which function, how long it took, success or error. Project Settings contains settings such as time zone, affects time-based triggers. Chrome V8, modern JavaScript runtime, recommended to enable. Script ID, unique script ID, may be needed for external connections. You can switch the project to Google Cloud Platform for advanced settings like custom APIs. Let's now create a small function that automatically creates sheets with the names you need in Google Sheets. Let's say you have a list of sheet names in column A and don't want to manually create and name them. You'd like a button to generate them all at once. Write the sheet names in column A. Notice that currently we only have one sheet named Sheet 1. Since we are creating sheets, let's name our function createSheetsFromList, which clearly indicates what the function does. Function names are written in camel case, like a camel's humps, where each new word starts with a capital letter, except the first one, which is lowercase. First, we'll create a constant to define the spreadsheet in this function. This tells the script which spreadsheet to work with. This code tells the script that spreadsheet is the active one we're working with. Next, we need to specify the sheet from which the script will read data. Let's use the currently active sheet for this. We reference the spreadsheet from above and select the active sheet. Methods like getActiveSpreadsheet and getActiveSheet are built in, so we can call them directly. That doesn't mean you can just write any get you want. It must be a valid method. Now we need to specify where our new sheet names are located. We access the sheet defined above and get all values from column A, starting at A1 and going down. GetValues returns an array of rows, where each row is an array with one cell, sales, marketing, for example. We use flat method to turn it into a one-dimensional array. Now we define a loop to apply actions to each array element. We use the forEach method on our names. We go through each row, each value from column A, and check if the name is valid using an if statement. If the name already exists, Google Sheets doesn't allow duplicate sheet names, we skip it. If the name doesn't exist, we create a sheet with that name in our spreadsheet. Below, we'll add the following line: Sheets created, if they didn't already exist. This is just a visual confirmation, so the user knows the script worked. Ideally, we'd also add error handling here. For example, if the sheet name doesn't follow Google Sheets rules. But this isn't a JavaScript lesson. I'm just showing how this works in Google Sheets in general. So now, we need to decide how a Google Sheets user will launch our automation. We'll write a function to add a custom menu item. Let's name the menu Custom Tool and the item Create Sheets from List. Now save the script. Click the disk icon. Next, go to Google Sheets and refresh the page. You'll see our new tab Custom Tools appear next to the Help menu. If you click it, our menu item Create Sheets from List will appear. Now we're ready to test our script. Click Create Sheets from List. When it runs, you'll see the message, Authorization required, and a script attached to this document needs your permission to run. Click OK and grant permission to run the script. You'll be asked to choose your account. Select it. After confirming, you might get a warning. Google hasn't verified this app. This is normal. If you trust the script, go ahead and allow access. In this case, for personal use, we're just creating sheets, so it's safe to grant permission. But if you find a script online and don't understand JavaScript, be cautious with what you copy and run. To allow access, click Advanced, then go to Your Script Name. Unsafe. You'll see a window saying, Your script name wants to access your Google account. Click Allow to grant the script permission to see, edit, create, and delete all your Google Sheets spreadsheets. Finally, the script will run and create the sheets. After success, you'll see a confirmation message. Click OK. Now you'll see all your newly created sheets. That's it! Now you've seen how Apps Script can be used to automate Google Sheets. This was a basic but practical example to get started. Thanks for watching.